Alright, so you'll see here I'm down in the lower left hand corner. And one thing that I ran into here that I had a little bit of trouble with, and this is going to be difficult to show in a video, but this lower piece right from about right here down was almost gone. The wall part was gone. Some of the framing was messed up and gone, and even more so on that side. And I'm going to show you, I had to fix this a little bit. When I did these, I kind of had to extrapolate on down the curve to where it would meet at the bottom when I traced my framing and when I traced my panel. But what I do know is that you have about 1 7/8 inches of, or you should have about 1 7/8 inches of clearance between here and the aluminum when the aluminum is pulled back tight. Now, I have not taken the aluminum completely off yet. You could, but for this specific reason I've chosen not to, and I'm going to straighten this out before I take the aluminum off. But what I did was I came back around here and I looked to see that holes on windows and stuff lined up, and they are almost there. They're pretty much dead on. So that lets me know that on the relative to the panels I didn't replace, or the framing I didn't replace, and the skin, everything is in the almost exact same location. So the reason I'm doing all this is so that when I go to put my metal back on, my back panel back on, and my back metal back on, that back metal has enough overlap and enough room to fit back exactly like it was to start with. And there's two things to that. One is if this back panel, if you were to use not 1/8 inch, if you were to use a little bit thicker wood, which you can do, but you would need to compensate by making this smaller, in other words farther towards the front of the trailer, so that panel doesn't stick out. If it sticks out, then it's not going to be flush with your metal and everything's not going to fit, which is going to make your back piece of metal not fit. The other thing I've noticed is when I took this stuff off, it was about 80 to 85 degrees out here. Right now it's about 60, so that metal has shrunken. My plan is to hopefully do this, to put this metal all back on when it's hotter, because when it gets hotter this metal will expand. It's a good 1/8 of an inch or so. So, and I would rather it be a little bit long than a little bit small. Small is going to be hard to fit. But if I can put it back on when it's hot, everything will, the metal will be expanded and it will fit a little bit more nicely. So I'm kind of thinking about that while I'm trimming this stuff off. I don't want it to be too, I don't want the metal to be too big. But down here at the bottom, what I'm having to do is taking me a piece of wood here, and you can see there I'm still lacking. I've got about a 1/16. I need about 1/8 over that. And you can see here all the way up I'm lacking just a little tiny bit. Now that might be covered by the heat once the metal expands. In fact, it probably would. There it's flush. And you have to remember these trailers were built 50 something years ago. Originally when I put these on, they actually sat out here on the panel and they were toe-nailed into the side framing, but I'm actually going to run mine all the way, and then my curbing that I took off will sit in here instead of running past it on this end. So this will actually be attached to the side. I think it's a little more stable that way. Maybe it stiffens it up too much, I don't know, but I don't know. I just like the fact of having this attached to wood rather than toe-nailed in sideways. So, and that you have to remember the fact that you don't have these the whole distance. You only have them in certain spots. So you're going to be a little more forgiving on your metal in between those spots. Like say if you have a cross member here and you have a cross member here, the metal in the middle will flex a little bit. So, and you'll have curbing in there. But that curbing, we're going to make sure it's not too high either. So anyways, what I'm looking at right now is down here I'm trimming up. I'm just taking the belt sander, and I'm not going to show that because it's just belt sanding. but I'm taking the belt sander, I'm sanding this back to where you have about 1/8 of an inch right there. When I sand this piece, let's see if I can get that. When I sand this piece flush right here, then this should fit fine. And so I just want to show that, give an idea of a few little things I had to touch up there. My other side I'm almost done with. You can see there how I've trimmed it. It's not pretty, it's a little off there. I'm going to try to hit that a little bit more with the belt sander down at the bottom there. That's tough to get to, and also right up in here just to kind of fair that curve off a little bit. That will have GIMP over it, then it will also have the panel, and it'll be behind the thing, behind the bed. So I want to make it nice and tight and watertight, but also I know it'll be behind the bed, so as long as it's watertight back there, I'm good with that. So that's about it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out on my production of the videos, and also hit the subscribe button and you will get updates next time I post a video. Also, be sure to subscribe to me on Instagram and Facebook in the links below, as well as Twitter if you do the tweeting thing, as I post other content there about my shop updates and trailer updates that I don't necessarily post here on YouTube. So that's it for today. Thanks.